Good afternoon, everyone. It is Paul and Saul. I am Saul, but he's not Paul.
Hi, I'm Collin Bester. It says right there, not Paul.
Yeah, it's important that you know that he's not Paul because Paul is out this week, and in his stead, our hardworking, intrepid, salaciously handsome journalist Collin Bester is on the case. We're going to be talking about apparently every controversial thing that could ever possibly happen here in the Emerald Coast or on the Emerald Coast for the last 2 weeks. Apparently, this has just been the 2 weeks to do it, guys. And so we're going to be talking about everything from Charlie Kirk getting a bridge named after him. He didn't do it. The Walton County Commission did, or not a bridge, a road. No Kings Rally, the First Amendment audit that happened in Niceville City Hall, the fallout from that, paying the mayor for Walton Beach, or I guess paying him more, all that and more. But first, quick update from this guy. Just got off of the horn with the bishop of the Diocese of Pensacola, Tallahassee, Bishop Bill Walk. And you might remember last week he released a letter to Catholics here in the area talking about the immigration situation here in the country. I thought we'd start on a light note. And so you'll also remember that was probably pretty controversial here in the area, a more conservative area naturally. And so more against what he said in that letter, which was essentially like the holding facilities, the prisons, the deportations are a bad thing. People need to come, he said people need to come here legally. There was like a lot of nuance in what he told me, but expect that video to be dropping here, not tonight, because that's not good for the algorithm and also my sleep. I would like to get some, but probably tomorrow late morning. But very interesting to hear what he said. But yeah, man, that letter last week was something else. It was a bombshell, as it were.
Yeah, and I feel like it was interesting to me to see the bishop come out and give this very, I think, impassioned plea on this subject. Something that we really don't ever talk about. Really, we talk about like the watchdog groups are more financial and more human rights violations with the ongoing immigration stuff like that. But he took it a different way and took it the more spiritual route, which I thought was very interesting. And saying, Jesus himself was an immigrant as well, so maybe tried to learn to live in the word of Jesus Christ himself. So I'm very interested to see your conversation with him, because, like, expanding more on the thoughts of his letter, talking about what else he's probably doing in the Diocese of Pensacola, Tallahassee as well.
Yeah, I mean, I asked him everything from like, why did you decide you needed to put this letter out now? What have you heard from migrants in the area? Have you heard from people that are against this? And he said yes to all three and kind of went into what people have told him since this letter came out. I think USA Today, big USA Today, picked it up and ran something late last week, early this week. So we will have a full conversation with him coming up. Other things you would probably want to know, not in that one, but let's go on to something maybe a little more localized. Fort Walton Beach City Council had their meeting last week, and you got some mileage out of that one in terms of what you wrote. You want to talk a little bit about what happened and what you learned?
Yeah, well, Fort Walton Beach city councils are definitely the marathons of local city government here in Okaloosa and Walton County. This one was about 4.5, 5 hours long as well. So just, on average for that day. But they had a couple big things. One that they talked about the 28.7G funding, where the Fort Walton Beach government is going to get $150,000 from ICE that will go towards a new vehicle and new training equipment. It's not going to change anything like immigration enforcement. The Chief Robert Bage of the Fort Walton Beach Police Department, said that they've only had one arrest that led to an immigration enforcement issue. That was due to a traffic stop violation that led to the immigration arrest. So for him, the city isn't actively enforcing immigration, but they are in the process, because they signed off with the 28.7G. They will help federal law enforcement agencies to enforce current immigration statuses. new pause agreement. That's a very hot button topic around Okaloosa County, as all the municipalities, Destin, Mary Esther, and Fort Walton Beach all renewed theirs. If you live in the city of Fort Walton Beach, your rate is going to go up from $5.50 to $6 per month. That's going to go about what is it, about $300,000 a year, and it's sort of based on the Okaloosa County agreement, which was $650 per capita. There was also a rec center expansion for the gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's the I think it's
it's the one on Hollywood, right?
Yeah, it's the one on Hollywood. They delayed again awarding a $7 million contract for a recreation complex expansion. This includes a 2,000 square foot office, new restrooms, multi-purpose field, pickleball courts, and a bit more parking. They pretty much shot it down because of the price tag here and the way the city councils had to deal with the budgetary restraints that was passed last November with the 3% cap year over year. Councilman Payne Walker has at length discussed this in the past, but that came up again today or on Tuesday that, they had to move $5.1 million from reserves to balance the city budget. We don't really have the money to do that. So they shot it down as well. And then we talk about mayoral compensation and a city election referendum. We'll start with the mayor's compensation. And we have to go back to November 2024, the last general election. The city of Fort Walton Beach came out, and I think around 54% of Okaloosa, Fort Walton Beach residents voted to stop giving elected officials compensation. That is healthcare, and that is their monthly stipend. And a couple weeks ago, the city of Fort Walton Beach, the city council, voted to pick these discussions up again to once again change those amendments to go on a future ballot, one of them being compensation for elected officials. The idea that was now being proposed, it's going to have to go to a couple readings before before people will see it on a ballot. But the one was compensation for elected officials. The idea was to give them $1,000 a month stipend, no health insurance whatsoever. Councilman Logan Browning, who is a freshman on the Fort Walton Beach City Council, brought up the idea, well, if we're all getting compensation, the mayor is not getting compensation. So he added that Mayor Nick Allegretto should pick up a couple $1,000 as well.
Well, he wanted double, though, right? He said that the mayor deserved double.
Yeah. So if this goes through and the people, the city council puts this on a ballot, Mayor Allegretto will get $2,000 per month compared to, the other councilmen and women getting $1,000 a month. Now, this is interesting because, again, in November, the city of Fort Walton Beach residents spoke heavily in favor of banning compensation outright for elected officials. Councilman Walker and Councilman Schmidt believe that, this was the power of the people was already spoken. Why are we going to do this again? And then in defense of it, Mayor Nick Allegretto said, this is a very time-consuming job. I don't know. Christopher can attest to, Mayor Dana Henkel or J.B. Witten or other mayors in the city of Okaloosa and Walton County, but they have very time-consuming jobs. They're everywhere. Look at Mayor Dick Rynierson from Fort Walton Beach, who was like at Hurlburt Field at 2:00 in the morning, welcoming service members back home from mission. So it's a very time-consuming job, and so for him to be the city of Fort Walton Beach's mayor, pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, Councilman Logan Browning thinks that he should be compensated for his work efforts. And then moving on to the last thing from Fort Walton Beach City Council, they voted 5-2 to move forward with a proposed referendum that would let voters decide whether to move city elections from March to the statewide general election cycle in November every even-numbered years. The city attorney, Jeff Burns, said that this would not extend any current term limits right now. Councilman David Schmidt made the motion for this to go ahead. It did pass 5-2. Now, the issue that Councilman Logan Browning and Ben Merrill, who's also a freshman on the city council, I know this is a lot to keep up with, so I apologize. They both opposed the measure. Browning saying, quote, "We still don't have the means or anything to do to our own election if Paul Lux doesn't want to do it." Merrill added, when you go to a national election, you have a lot of things on your ballot that you have to contend with. So getting, 20 points down the ballot and then having all these local issues probably muddies the water. For me, I vote for the president, I vote for my senator. I get to the bottom, I'm kind of like, meh.
Shame.
I get that, but that's how most people feel, right? When they get to the bottom, it's like, hey man, I just want to get out of here. I did my duty, move on. So it's a very interesting conversation that's going to be held in Fort Walton Beach City Council over the next couple of months. I mean, there's 4 more meetings between now and the end of the year about this issue, and if it goes to a ballot, the next election will be in March 2026. There's no city council members on that ballot. But if everything goes through, there will be a lot of referendums on that ballot that will shape the city of Fort Walton Beach for years to come.
Yeah, and it's stuff that, like you said, basically is going to, if it were to pass, would have essentially overturned what happened 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so you can kind of understand like why some people on the council are uptight about that. They felt that the people have already voted. But at the end of the day, you can put as many things on the ballot as you want, as long as you get it past the city council and put it there. So, you can't tie the hands of future councils, right? And that's essentially what they're coming up against. But before we keep going, Josh Bennett asked, any further news on City of Niceville and Chelco Power? So went to the city council this week. They passed this right-of-way easement on the other side of Rocky Bayou Bridge. There's like 4 or 5 different houses and I think 1 other building that are technically in the city. They're within city limits, but they're on the far side of Rocky Bayou, so they have Chelco Power. This makes sure that the city of Niceville keeps its right-of-way in that area. But if you're hoping for Chelco in West Niceville or anywhere across Rocky Bayou, sorry guys, it ain't happening. And that, it is what it is. I'm not gonna pass any judgment on that one. But going to the other fun thing you did in Fort Walton Beach this week, no Kings rally. Everybody is very, very uptight about the crowd size and the exact number. And I know you went and counted each and every head there at all times. You didn't let anybody leave until you got a count. I gave you one of those clicker thingies, and you gave me an exact number of
around 600.
Okay, around 600.
So yeah, there were more people there than last time, and that was easy. That was mostly notable. There was more people there than the last one in June. And the Okaloosa County Democratic Party, whatever you want to call them, said there was roughly 1,000 people there. I don't know. I'm only one person, and I was just in my little bubble of where I was. But certainly, I thought it was very interesting. I've been to now 3 events at the Landing Park. I've been to 2 No Kings rallies. I've been to 1 Charlie Kirk rally. I say that the American ideal of protesting or gathering together to speak your mind on an issue is very important, and that's what we saw on Saturday in Fort Walton Beach. I mean, the people we talked to have, I think, legitimate gripes about what's going on in this country, and they gathered and spoke their mind. And I think that's probably one of the most American things that you can do. But I think if people are getting hung up on crowd size, I feel like that's kind of taking away from the actual thing of the story. Is that we talked to several people who were there about why they wanted to be there, about what gripes they had. And certainly, I think, for them, this is how they solve their problems. And for other people, they solve their problems different ways.
So what was different about this No Kings rally than the last one in June?
Yeah, early June. I mean, I think for one, it was way cooler. So that probably brought a lot more people out because like June in Fort Walton Beach downtown.
June hot.
Yeah, that sucks. But I think the bigger gripes you had were what's currently going on in national government, especially with the government shutdown. A lot of people felt like if the Republican bill passed, their healthcare plans, their premiums that they have to pay each month would go up. Some people actually showed that on their cell phone to me. And they're talking, I think some person was paying $300. Now they'd be paying $900 if it passed, which is unaffordable to probably a lot of people. They also hated the idea that the Trump administration, in their mind, is just doing things without congressional oversight. He's just signing just basically the will of the executive order, and that's how he's governing. And I feel like those are legitimate rights to those people. But, the people who are here were in a very conservative area of Florida, like the most conservative area of Florida. So
I
This
think
thing was
somewhere I saw that the first congressional district is second only to I think it's the congressional district on the suburbs of Birmingham in terms of like they like did it by vote, how
yeah.
conservative, and it's like number
Yeah.
2 out of 435 districts, right?
Yeah, the Florida Congressional District 1 is R+19, which is the most conservative district in the state of Florida, the second most conservative district in the country. So obviously, you're going to get a lot of pushback to anything from the Democratic side that they all get together. But I will say it was peaceful. I think the funniest thing I've seen was people in inflatable dinosaur costumes that were there, and if that's those, I guess that's the real villain. One question we asked pretty much every person we talked to is that Congressman Jimmy Patronis came out on Twitter and said that the No Kings rallies were Hate America Day rallies, and we wanted their reaction to it. And from most of the people who we talked to, they said they love America. They just don't like who's in charge, and that's, I think, fair. You can love your country and not love the government. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. We just went through 4 years of the Biden administration, and a lot of people love their country but did not like the Biden administration, and the pendulum swung the other way. This is what happens in politics. This is what happens with political discourse. The organizers there said there's going to be more protests and more rallies in the future. If things are planned, we will cover them. But we'll also cover if the Republicans want to get together and have protests and rallies of their own. We'll cover that too. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair journalism, both sides. So
exactly.
I will say the funniest comment is the person that we thought we were counting teeth. I got to say that gave me a laugh. That gave me a chuckle.
On that note about how conservative Florida 01 is, so I remember when it was number 2, it has dropped significantly. The most conservative congressional district in the United States is Alabama's 4th. It is Coleman, Fort Payne, and Muscle Shoals. It's R+33. So I guess that means it's like, what is that? 70-30? Is that how that works?
Yep.
And so Florida is, I want to say it's the top. It's still the most conservative congressional district in Florida. But it is, I would say it's 40 districts up-ish. It's +18. So there you go, guys. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Moving on to our next.
I love how it says Panthers by 1 million. We're getting the trash talk early because on this Friday you can watch right here on your social media pages Final Approach Game Day, brought to our friends of Final Approach Irrigation. Call Hunter Brock for any irrigation need that you may have, especially with this cold weather coming up. This is the time to get your lawn in order for next spring. So call Hunter Brock. He'll hook you up. Maybe he could hook up the Eagles' nest by fixing that brown spot at the 35-yard line. But this is going to be a very interesting week on both sides for Christopher, Hunter Brock, and Heath Romiger and myself, as everyone to my left, video camera left, is actually video camera right, sorry, is a Niceville homer. And I am a graduate of Milton High, class of 2013. And I was on the football team that played Niceville in that opening round of the playoffs that year. And we beat them. We smoked them. Absolutely dominated them.
What was the score?
I can't remember.
There it is. All right.
But I will say real quick, I know, Christopher, winner of this game goes to playoffs, most likely. So it's a big deal. And if Milton loses, which they're not going to, I'll wear a banana costume at the Niceville Navarre game. Who knows? I
might make him do that anyway, just so we're clear. That's Halloween night. So apologies in advance to the referees, Principal Morello.
I'm going to make some kid miss a field goal.
Look, man, I am not going to I think the banana costume is going to be hilarious. And I don't know how it's going to go down, but it is. And I've accepted that. I've moved forward with that. It is what it is. Moving on from the No Kings rally to something maybe less politically polemic, the Defuniak City Council had their meeting this week. Our intrepid reporter, Stephen Saul, was on the case. They talked about a couple of things, but the thing that really got the most traction was their CRA. They've had a long back and forth, the council has, about the CRA. 2 city council people really want to get rid of the CRA. The other 3 are very, very much in favor of it. But what that means is it makes for a lot of discussion about the CRA. There was another vote to eliminate, I should probably tell you what that is, the Community Redevelopment Agency. So it's like a special taxing district. They tax on top of your normal taxes in a depressed area that's typically commercial. So older buildings, think like old hollowed out downtowns from back in the day, is really kind of the vibe that they're going to rebuild, reinvigorate. And so the city has had this for a while, and around Florida, they're pretty controversial just because of that taxing aspect. There's even there's a state representative from, I think, the Tampa area who has put in a bill every year for the last couple of years to eliminate CRAs in their entirety. They typically get pretty far in the political process, but never make it all the way to be signed by the governor. They usually get laid on the table, kind of forgotten, and people move on. But in this case, in Defuniak Springs, they want to get rid of this thing because they think it's like an appendix, they feel like. But the people that are on the CRA, the 3 city council people at the city, really, they feel it's valuable. It's bringing back that downtown area around Lake Defuniak. The latest thing, though, was about property abatements and lien reductions, keeping those on the table. Mayor Pro Tem Amy Hevelin talked about how much she's against it. She doesn't want to give out responsibility or delegate responsibility. She wants that to come straight to the Defuniak Springs City Council. Todd Bierbaum and a couple of other city council people fought back, said, hey, this is a good thing. It allows us to have those abatements because the city can't directly collect liens and deal with property abatements because it's a government. And so this is kind of a halfway to make sure that stuff gets cleaned up and people are fined accordingly. It's obviously controversial, but the CRA came and spoke in their defense, if that makes sense. So the CRA members came and said, hey, this is a valuable thing. This is why we need to have it. It's building the place back up. It's a good thing. But ultimately it passed, or they were able to keep it. The CRA is going to stay there. And the interesting headline from this is that the mayor, who of course doesn't get a vote, talked about how there's a lot of mudslinging when it comes to the CRA, and it's driving people away. So finding a new economic development person to replace Uriah Matthews, somebody to come in and be the tourism development director. They see people battling back and forth, and that makes them nervous, is what he said. He says that this mudslinging is not constructive. But though with sunshine law, I don't know where else you kind of hash stuff out other than in front of God and everybody at the city council meeting.
Yeah, I mean, the CRA thing is interesting because we just went through a legislative session where, correct me if I'm wrong, CRAs across the state would have been disbanded. And it got, I think, the farthest it's gone. I think it got to the House, it got to the Senate floor, and people voted on it. This was the farthest it's ever gotten before. And the interesting context from this across the state, I don't really know much about the Defuniak thing, but I can give you some state context, is that a lot of these state reps and state senators believe that CRAs are not legislating their funds correctly, or they're using them as quote unquote slush funds for other projects that don't really bring anything of value to their community. So they're getting rid of it. And, you know, we talked to Jennifer Adams from the Okaloosa County Tourism Department, but she said getting rid of these TDCs would be devastating, especially to Northwest Florida, who rely so much on this tourism to help fund things like the multi-use path on Okaloosa Island, the multi-use path in Niceville that Christopher will use, and he doesn't have to get hit on when he runs anymore. So it's very interesting, but I'm glad Defuniak is sort of keeping the CRA for now. I think when you drive through Defuniak, it is this sort of historic, sort of old Florida that you don't really get to see much anymore. Gives me some Crestview vibes a little bit as well. Just Defuniak just has a giant circular lake in the center with all these Victorian homes, and the Sunbright Manor, who I believe was the governor's house.
Governor Sidney Johnson Katz, the only third-party governor candidate to win the governor's office. We have a video about it on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Lived there for several years and then came back after his governorship and lived there some more. Kathy Alley writes, and I believe she is correct. I misspoke. The understanding of CRA taxes is not an extra tax. That money from the taxes that would have otherwise gone into the general coffers goes specifically into a special budget that goes to improve that area. So that is correct. I did misspeak. That one's on me.
Hi, Councilwoman. How you doing?
And so Kathy Alley was on. I got to go do firefighter stuff with the Niceville Fire Department yesterday. Good times. Kathy Alley, all the council was there yesterday. We have a video coming out and a story. We talked a little bit more than just like, oh, hey, here's how to, use the jaws of life, which we did and was fun, but talked a little bit more about strategic planning and all the things that really matter in the next 5 years, especially for your pocketbook as a homeowner in Niceville. So
did you get to use it?
The hose?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. It was great.
Hell yeah.
And I'll tell you this. So they put us in that smokehouse. Basically, it's like a 3-story building where they train in. And Councilwoman Alley says yesterday was rough, and she was not kidding. I went into this building there where they simulated like, hey, you're going in to fight a fire. And the first thing you notice is like your body, even though your brain knows that it's a training exercise, your heart rate goes to like 200. Like it is like, it feels real.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's just like the simulations,
but like, there's no heat from the fire, but there's also no light.
Yeah.
And so it's completely dark and your brain is like, oh boy, what do we do? This is not good. You have a mask on. And so when you first put that mask on, or at least mine, it was too loose. I put it on the wrong way. And so it was blowing pressurized air in my face for like the first 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, we got to fix this because I'm not useful to anybody. So I had to go back out, put it back on, go back in. And long story short, there's going to be a story. It's going to be very exciting for me because I got to talk about, basic strokes of what strategic planning, what the city of Niceville Fire Department is going to be like in 5 years. And also Kathy Alley says the equipment was heavy and hot, and she is not kidding. It was so hot. It was 55 degrees outside, and with the bunker gear and your body going, it's like 150 degrees. I had blue jeans on and I soaked through blue jeans. It was nuts. Anyway, Paul Schoberg, we miss you back, Paul. I hope you're watching us from an airport terminal and thinking about how much I miss you, because I do, even though Collin's pretty great. Anyway,
I can't replace Paul Schoberg. The great Paul, because the thing is, I don't have a cool hat. I have this on my desk. It's a die-cast race car. It's pretty cool.
That's not nearly as cool.
It's Denny Hamlin's rookie year car. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Speaking of replacing, there is a former Santa Rosa County Commissioner who has officially entered the race for Donna John's seat on the Walton County Commission. His name is James Calkins. And Collin, you've had some interaction with Mr. Calkins before when he was a Santa Rosa County Commissioner. Brother, do tell.
Yeah, I lived under the Calkins rule for 4 years. Look, he wasn't a very popular choice in Santa Rosa County. He actually came in third the last go-around cycle, which he lost. But
for his second election, right?
For a second election, yes. And he is filed to run for District 4, which is currently held by Commissioner Donna Johns, saying that his God, family, and country isn't a slogan; it's his compass. I will say that he did include an AI-generated photo of himself in his press release, which sort of kind of tells you all you kind of need to know about him. But he had a tenure as a Santa Rosa County Commissioner that was not very popular. In 2024, last year, 20 residents filed complaints against the Florida Commission of Ethics against Calkins after he publicly said he would not vote for a qualified candidate for a county board position solely because she was a Democrat. He also faced questions about the campaign finance funding, where he had taken money from the America First Alliance PAC, which is chaired by his grandmother. He also was criticized for focusing on partisan national issues rather than local government, to the point where his last county commission meeting as the Santa Rosa County Commissioner, he did not show up. Why? Because he was stumping for then Congressman Matt Gaetz, He was at one of Congressman Matt Gates's rallies before the November 6th election in 2024. But now he is going to run in Walton County. It's going to be very interesting to see who shows up in that District 4 race. We assume that Donna Johns is going to run to keep her seat, but there's also interesting names coming out of Okaloosa County who may run for that seat as well. So it looks like District 4 is going to be one of the most heated races in Northwest Florida election cycle next year, which I can't believe we're already almost a year away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we just got out of that last one.
Yeah.
But it just kind of is what it is, right? And so we'll have midbaynews.com/elections all revamped, rejiggered, and ready to go for this next one. I know there were two other controversial things that happened under Calkins' time on the Santa Rosa County Commission. They had dueling petitions, one to name the Navarre Beach Bridge after Donald Trump that James Calkins started in 2020. Another petition came up to name it after Medal of Honor winner and former Air Force Special Operations Command Airman John Chapman. James Calkins publicly downdressed the originator of the petition for trying to kind of, I guess, step on the Donald Trump petition. Either way, neither of those petitions have resulted in the renaming of that bridge up to this point. Not that I can tell based on anything that's been previously reported. And then the other one was the video of him in Russia with his wife and family over there singing the Russian national anthem. They had to come out after that video surfaced during the 2020 election campaign, if I'm not mistaken, and say basically like, hey, we are against the invasion of Ukraine by the Russians. We're against, but like all this to say, like he's taken a lot of national issues, right, and like used them at the local level, which we don't really see here, for lack of a better term. So sure, everybody here is a Republican, right? Not everybody, but like every elected official in our area is a Republican. They all have the R next to their name, but especially at like the county commission level, the city council level, which doesn't typically have partisan seats, you don't see a whole lot of national political issues making their way into the topics of discussion or debate. And so he's the first, and I would say he's almost, I don't want to say entrepreneur because that has a business connotation, but he is, he's doing new things with national level politics at a local level, right? To try and differentiate himself. And in 2020, that worked in spades for him, right? Like he won that election. And then in 2024, I would say that almost worked as a, what do you call it? A millstone for him, because it became so, and the votes showed this, right? He came in third out of three candidates, even though he was the incumbent. That almost never happens.
Yeah.
And so that you could see like how the fortunes up and down of using that strategy affected his campaign.
Yeah, and this is sort of the thing, and I think when in another thing on the James Calkins hat, I almost forgot it. I didn't want to. We don't really know his background, and I had lengthy conversations with Tom McLaughlin over the past couple of years. So Tom McLaughlin, if you don't know him, one of the best journalists in Northwest Florida. He's currently with the Pensacola News Journal. He's covered James Calkins for the past couple of years. We don't really know his background. We know that he may have was raised in California, and he has these construction background, but no one really knows for sure who James Calkins is. He's sort of like an international man of mystery. And he is very pro-development. And for the people in Walton County who want to rein in some of that development, because they see exponential growth over a short period of time, and they believe that this could have a negative connotations, especially with the environment, especially because Walton County, that Santa Rosa Beach area is directly on Choctaw Bay. That with lax developmental codes, it could hurt the environment. And from the past couple of years, when he was on the Santa Rosa County Commission, he was build baby build for all 4 years of his tenure. So this is very interesting to me, and hopefully we have the chance to talk to him in the next couple of months to figure out why he decided to go from Santa Rosa County to Walton County. maybe because he knows he can probably win that seat. Walton County is the most conservative, one of the most conservative counties in Northwest Florida. Obviously, that does
Not
well.
to say that Santa Rosa County isn't, though.
Yeah, but Santa Rosa County has that Escambia County like the people in Pensacola live in Milton and they'll drive over to Pensacola, where you don't see that necessarily in Okaloosa, Walton County. You have Fort Walton Beach maybe is the biggest.
Panama City.
Yeah, so I would say there's some people who live in Walton County who drive to Bay County for work, but because it's cheaper, duh. But it's going to be very interesting to see how things are different. Is he going to run like he did in Santa Rosa County? And if it does that work in Walton County? It's too early for me to say it will or won't. But
I'm fascinated by this.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I think because I think that if he is his read on the situation is that he stands a very good chance in Walton County, I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. I think that a clean slate in Walton County, plus, using national political, as we'll talk about in this next thing when we talk about the Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway, right? That resonates in Walton County in a real way. I mean, mm-hmm. We've seen it in our own analytics as we've posted these stories. People care about the national level stuff being redistributed, as it were, on the local level in Walton County. People want to hear about that, want to talk about that, want to discuss it, and have it as a part of their daily lives in Walton County, and to some extent in Okaloosa County. But really, where I've seen it, at least as I've gone through all the data, if that's a bet that James Calkins is making, I think it's a wise bet.
Yeah, but I think the thing that goes against him is that no one knows who he is, and considering we know Donna John's track record, whether mm-hmm. people like her or not. I know Jim Bagby, the current Destin City Council, his name has been thrown out as a possible candidate for that seat as well. The thing is, most Walton County residents know who those two people are, mm-hmm. and from the outside looking in. Like, if you just take the news story from the headline, former Santa Rosa County Commissioner runs for Walton County. Some dude with some souped up Nissan going behind Christopher. It sounds like that James Calkins is only running from Walton County Commission because he can't win in Santa Rosa County, and he can't probably win in Escambia. He's not going to win in Escambia County because that is a completely different political animal in Northwest Florida. Then you have Okaloosa County, but you have name recognition a little bit, I guess. Walton County, you're a complete unknown. And how does he put all of the things that he's done in the past? Because there's a track record with the mm-hmm. News Journal reporting, Navarre Press, other Santa Rosa County, Escambia County outlets have covered him. How does that track record follow him into a Walton County election cycle? I mean, he wouldn't be the odds-on favorite, but if he can win elections. He can mm-hmm. run. He has sort of, after meeting him a couple times, he has this charisma to him. He can come across as a very likable sort of. I swear, Christopher, everything comes back to Hamilton to me for some reason. But you can have a beer with this guy.
I was about to say, like, he's the can you have a beer with him test? It's the George Bush Al Gore thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like just fascinated by this because mm-hmm. it's got so many different like pieces of it. It's got the like somebody moves somewhere else to see how is that going to change? What is that going to look like? It has, does Jim Bagby get in this race? I mean, Jim Bagby worked in tourism in Walton County for a long time. He was the aide de camp for Matt Gaetz for a long time. He knows all the political players. He knows where the money can be got from because, I mean, Matt Gaetz won multiple elections and had to get funding, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's so many moving pieces here that we really don't know how the ground is going to settle until after the new year. But that's why I think his decision to run early, and he's still technically the only person that's pre-registered for this seat. Donna Johns hasn't done it. Jim Bagby hasn't done it. My aunt and uncle Louisa and Bob haven't done it. I mean, there's only one name on that list right now.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? Why is he getting started so early? I'm fascinated to know. I want to know what this PAC, the America First Alliance PAC is going to do. What does that look like? How much money gets put behind it? Who's giving money to the PAC? Who's giving money to him? I mean, we've got a ton of questions that aren't going to be answered for a long while, but that's why we're starting early, right?
Yeah, one of my interesting questions I was thinking about, because I have a political science degree, and you're sort of in this political space as I am with this, like we're thinking like very hard from 1,000 feet to 1,000 foot. Both of these guys have, let's say Jim Bagby and James Calkins, they both have ties to Matt Gaetz.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Matt Gaetz, who do you endorse for that seat? Because a Matt Gaetz endorsement
Means something.
Does a lot of things for you.
Yeah.
And James Calkins publicly supported Matt Gaetz in 2024. Jim Bagby was aide de camp to Matt Gaetz. Where do you go? Who gets who? What's the race for that endorsement look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, speaking of another thing that was national and went local, the Walton County Commission, led by Commissioner Danny Glidewell, who represents like the northeastern portion of Walton County, passed a resolution that renames County Road 393 the Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway. And so, if you're not familiar with where that might be, it's right off of Highway 98, and it is as that little piece of South or Southern Walton County kind of juts out into the bay where it meets Okaloosa County and kind of makes the bottom right quadrant of the. Why am I saying this like I don't have a map? One moment, please. Maps. All right, so not in Niceville. So right here, here is 393 North. Right here. So Stella's Bakery, Pazzo Italiano, St. Rita's Catholic Church is right here. Del Taco. That's a great landmark. Why didn't I come
Fresh avocado.
Fresh avocado.
Fresh avocado.
But so right in here, or no, that's Church Street, excuse me. Right here is going to be called Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway. And they chose that road for a really interesting reason that I like just never would have thought of. Is that they didn't want to make everybody have to rename and renumber their mailing addresses for residences. Mm-hmm. And so, because what would happen is, like, let's say you get a package and one day you're living on North County Highway 393, and then the next day you're on Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway, and then all your mail goes missing for 3 months.
Yeah. This was an interesting day because this happened on Charlie Kirk's what would have been his 32nd birthday. Mm-hmm. This was also the day that the Trump administration granted him a presidential Medal of Freedom. This is also a day that many other cities in the state of Florida, other counties, also passed resolutions renaming roadways to a Charlie Kirk Memorial Parkway or Charlie Kirk Parkway, just naming something in his honor. As to my knowledge, this is the first in Northwest Florida to have a Charlie Kirk Parkway. Escambia County had an offer. It failed. I don't know if they were talked about in St. Rosa County, but it hasn't gotten anywhere. Okaloosa County has not come up at all. But now Walton County passed it unanimously. Only one person spoke out in this, and her name was Melissa Forberg, who she also commended the board for recommendation. And now we don't know when this is going to happen, when the naming is going to change. We also don't know how much this is going to cost. This can be anywhere in the thousands to $10,000 range, depending on.
So why would it cost any money? Like what costs?
Yeah, so there's going to be like a placard or a recognition thing, like that you would see on any memorial highway. There's also going to be any time where there's a stop where County Road 393 North intersects with another road. Mm-hmm. They'd have to have sign changes as well.
Yeah.
So this is going to cost a little bit of taxpayer money to get this passed through. And you saw a lot of support for this on our Facebook page, midbaynews.com. Go there, read all the comments that you like. We have some really good football coverage, so if you like that, read that as well. But that's one of the things that was missing from this article. And it's my bad that I did not include this, because taxpayer money will be going to it. And in my research, I've seen as high as $50,000, and I've seen as low as $2,000. So we're talking thousands of dollars of taxpayer money is going to be used to fund this project. We don't know when this is going to happen, but we'll follow it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the question, should taxpayer money be used for this? I don't know. That's not my place to answer. I'm a journalist. I'm supposed to be impartial, but in a very fiscally conservative area that we are in, and people want money going to actually things they could use. This is just an honorary kind of thing for Charlie Kirk. So I don't know. We've seen this before. We've seen like I can't remember the Medal of Honor winner in Pensacola, Chappie Davis.
Yeah.
I think that's his name.
The bridge.
But they renamed the bridge. They renamed Bayfront Parkway in his honor over there. And I don't know how much money that cost the city of Pensacola or Escambia County residents, but I'm pretty sure it was a big ticket item.
Well, that's also an order of magnitude, right? Like
Yeah.
the naming the whole bridge in the Bayfront is going to be an order of magnitude more expensive than this road. I can't imagine it costing more than a couple $1,000s, essentially, because it's just a sign, a couple of stop signs. I could be wrong, and I guess we can look into that. If you guys put in the comments, hey, how much does this cost? If enough people do it, we will look into it. The last thing to talk about is my favorite amendment and yours, First Amendment, freedom of speech. Not always super well used, I'll just say. And in this case, that had something to do with it. About a month and a half ago, was it in August? Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
A fella from New Hampshire came through. He's the NH Press Now. Is that what it is?
Yep.
But basically, he's an agitator that goes into local government buildings and yells at people and swears at them. Came and took a visit to Niceville. Came in, cajoled, harassed, whatever, and left. Well, the city council at their meeting on a week ago today took it into their hands. They had an ordinance from Punta Gorda, Florida, so Southwest Florida, that's been challenged in court multiple times, put this ordinance in place, but it basically restricts the freedom of movement in specific areas in city buildings. So, for example, if you go into the water department area in Niceville City Hall, the main foyer area is cleared for everybody, but like the hallway that leads to offices is now like blocked off, and it says like, hey, authorized personnel only. They didn't previously have those authorized personnel only signs, which meant that anybody could go back there. So I would say that this has led to maybe not ironically, maybe ironically, like less freedom from the city to walk in random places. So I don't know how much anybody cares about that, but it has changed. And it is to make sure essentially that people are not being harassed. It also puts in trespass warnings. It puts in a whole list of things that have all been challenged in court previously and they've held up. So chances are good that the ordinance and the enforcement therein will hold up as well. I am hopeful that this won't get challenged directly by the same guy.
Well, he lives in Florida now.
Yeah, he lives in Navarre, so I guess he has
Yeah.
the time and the impunction. Is that the word? Compunction. He can be compelled to do it. He's compelled by his compulsive. I don't know. But like, I'm interested to see. I'm hopeful that I won't see anything come out of this. I hope that we just kind of go back to business as usual and people won't yell obscenities at other people. Because it's not super helpful for us as journalists to have people yelling obscenities and then mentioning the First Amendment, but whatever.
This guy has really changed some things in the past couple months here in Okaloosa County, because he had he went to Fort Walton Beach and did the same thing there. He went to Bay County, and I think someone from the Bay County jail got arrested.
That's correct. Yeah.
Due to his interaction. Then he caused the hubbub in Crestview, where he had his
gun in front of
the shoe center. So he's getting around Okaloosa County, and I don't know. I have a lot of personal things I want to say about it, but I'm going to keep that to myself because I don't want to get fired. But I think it's interesting that there's now basically the way that you explained it to me is offline, is that this now just sets rules and regulations for people going into the city. You can go to the city offices in Niceville and Fort Walton Beach or whatever, but you may not be able to go, past the main lobby. You may have to wait a little bit to get your business done. And I think that's fair, right? And if you do trespass, it's a second-degree misdemeanor. That's $500 fine, up to 60 days in county jail if people violate it. So, maybe this is just to have rules. This is just to have guidelines. But I don't think the city is actively in going against people's First Amendment rights.
I wouldn't say so. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense that you should be able to go back there if it's not clearly marked, right?
Yeah.
So, like in a twisted way, I guess this is progress, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like somebody's just being a jerk just to do it. I don't know what doing all that. I don't know how doing all that helped anybody be more free. I'm not able to do my job more easily because of that.
I think it's just rage bait. Like it just incites people. For the people who are older than Stephen, rage bait is.
Why you got to go after my dad from the top rope?
Sorry. Okay. To the people who are over 40, rage bait is a millennial term. It's like a Gen Zer term to actively invoke an emotion that is rage-inducing. Hashtag ergo rage bait. His whole shtick is getting people enraged online, getting a massive amount of public pressure because I went to the Niceville Police Department's Facebook page and there are people still to this day talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just puts a massive amount of pressure on a public entity, and then things may or may not happen. That's this guy's whole shtick. As a journalist, I wouldn't go to Mayor Dana Henkel's office and ask him for an interview. I at least email him first.
Yeah.
Because there's pathways to do things right and there's pathways to do things wrong. You learned about that in J school.
Yeah.
But then again, Mayor Henkel is an elected official, and there's a different set of rules to him as compared to David Deitch, who is not an elected official. He is an employee. Like, I can call Councilwoman Alley. I can email her anytime I want.
Mm-hmm.
She's an elected official. David Deitch is a little different. That's. Man, we should teach journalism classes. I think we'd be really good at it.
Yeah, that or we're going to get everybody arrested. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is, as always, up for interpretation.
You have a cool hat? You don't have a hat?
I have my cowboy hat.
Why don't you put that on?
My cattleman? 1 second.
Yeah, the hat needs to go. While we're there, let's do some things. Midday News is your one-stop shop for all local news in Okaloosa and Walton County. We have over 20 years of combined experience in the journalism sector. Christopher worked for TV News, and there's a great video he's shown me. Maybe you might share that one day. Can I tell the story real quick?
Go nuts.
So you did this story back when you were in Texas, and it was distracted driving, and you were on the side of an embankment, and there's B-roll footage of you just watching traffic go by.
Yeah.
And you won an award for that, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
So, that's very good for you. I'm just some radio guy who then went to media. We try our best to give you guys the information you need to know. Like this, you need to know is go to Final Approach Irrigation for all your irrigation needs. Hunter Brock will take good care of you. Any other sponsors we should drop? Romberger Renovations as well. Go to community. Yeah. Go to Community Bank for all your banking needs. Liquid IV. If you feel needs
Prime IV.
Prime IV. You need some hydration. You need to feel just a little bit, nicer, a little bit loose in the step. Go to Prime.
I got an IV last week before my half marathon, and when I say it saved my life, I'm not kidding.
Yeah. If Pepsi, if you're watching, it is the choice of a new generation.
Please don't do that.
Whataburger also.
Just what a burger should be.
Just what a burger should be. Who else? Taco Bell, if you're listening, bring back your quesarito, please. That was delicious. You should do that.
Yeah, and to all of the other homies, whom I think that Collin has shouted out, including True Plumbing, Eglin Federal Credit Union,
Ryan
Niceville Family Dental, Ryan Cabanis, State Farm Insurance. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
help us keep this thing on the rails, despite our best efforts.
And this show for the past 4 minutes has gone off the rails. But one more thing: final approach to game day, 4:30 Friday. What else? Anything? All Okaloosa County Commission stuff. Crestview City Council and Destin City Council will be on the website tomorrow morning for your reading perusal.
Perusing pleasure. It's just
I don't
hard for us to say goodbye. That's the problem. Anyway.
Yeah, because I'll see you tomorrow in the office. We'll be doing stuff. And by the way, if you follow us on Facebook or social media, stay tuned for Halloween because we have something special planned for you.
We got a good one.
We got
All
a
right,
good
guys.
one.
Well,
So-
we're going to leave you alone now, but have a great day. Have a great week, and we will